And 2018, we launched the MagBox series, which generated $1 million in 60 days on Kickstarter, and that was a huge piece of noise in the system. Like that's a massive amount of success,
Yeah.
and now we're trying to build an operation and a team and HR policies and finance policies and all sorts of things on an upward trend. And there's just so much water coming into the bucket, so many customers, so many opportunities. It was really suffering from our own success,
Is it the
that it
kind
was
of
so hard
blockbuster
to
syndrome?
see yeah, it was so hard to focus on what's
Yeah.
actually meaningful and important right now because, hundreds of people would want to be part of the ambassador program. They want other organizations are reaching out like, hey, support, our local PPA, all over the world. And it was just inundation after inundation of just so many opportunities. And I remember a great quote by Steve Jobs years and years
What
ago.
not to do.
He exactly he
Yes.
was more proud of what Apple chose not to do rather than what they focused on
Yeah.
what to do.
I remember that.
And we know that Apple had a very limited SKU set back in 2008. That's the year after the iPhone launched.
Yeah.
And I had the original iPhone, and so I remember kind of their original product layout, and iTunes was still like their cash cow, and MacBooks, and now they're venturing into completely a new product that is now the number one product in the entire world by orders of magnitude. And they were more proud of what they didn't choose to focus on,
Which
and
kind of freaks me
and
out
that
these days because now they're doing a whole bunch of stuff. It's kind of gone away from that whole idea and vision that Steve Jobs had. But I remember that very poignantly in reading his book. It was one of the things that I highlighted and just circled over and over and over. And it's this, I go back to blockbuster syndrome where like it's, and it almost sounds weird to complain about because, the most people that are starting up a business, I would say that they're just trying to get one thing to work. But when you actually do get that one thing to hit and you maybe get the second thing to hit, then it's like walking into a blockbuster store. And Anthony, I am just realizing that you may have never had that experience. Have you ever had that experience?
Blockbuster?
oh
Yeah. Have you
man,
ever walked into a blockbuster store?
Yeah.
You have?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. He's not
I'm not that young.
that
Jeez.
young. Okay. So, I mean, you're pretty freaking young, dude. So, you walk in, for our listeners that are and have not had that experience, you walk into this store. It's like walking into a physical Netflix. I have this issue on Netflix where you pull up Netflix and you're like, what do I choose? But now it's all physical and it's all surrounding you. And I find that running a business like yours would have to be very much like that, where you
oh
have
yeah,
created these products that are good and now you're essentially just inundated with, hey, look over here, what can we team up with? Hey, how do you think this would work? Would this be a great idea, Spencer? We should really bring this to market. And these aren't, it's not as if like at this point I would imagine that it's not just small companies that are doing this to you guys. I would imagine the big companies in the industry are coming to you and saying, we have ideas, what do you think? Would that be accurate?
yeah. It was a whole range, and this isn't a bad thing. I don't want to come across as like, oh, we were overwhelmed in a bad way, but we were overwhelmed in a positive way because you know I launched products. I launched Kickstarter in 2013. We revamped the product line and expanded it in 2014. Then we launched the Mac Beam in 2016. And it's this whole time I'm just trying to spend more time making more products because that's what our customers want. And I had a pretty good vision of how we could solve that and how to make amazing products that provide a tremendous amount of value. And it's just this entire wave of opportunity is what I call it. There's always some kind of distraction saying, "Hey, focus on me. I want to help you,"
Yeah.
and that comes from team because I never learned how to manage a team or set up. I was terrible at delegating. I'm still getting better at it, and it's just this massive tidal wave of opportunity that you're just trying to stay on the surfboard, like you're just hanging on for dear life of on riding this wave and you can't even stand up and look around and actually see, okay, where am I going? Am I going towards the shore? Am I heading towards the rocks? Or am I actually going down this wave in the direction I want to go?
Yeah.
And it was incredibly difficult. And in 2019, we got a little smarter. We hired some staff that was more experienced in larger companies. And that started to kind of gain some traction. And we got a lot better at kind of project management and delegation. And I learned in the early of 2019 was the company is never going to grow. It's going to grow faster than I can. And so I
Hmm.
need to get ahead of the curve. And so I tried to get out of a lot of the operations of the day to day and really just help grow myself from an intellectual standpoint of learning how do I just manage a company? How do I be smarter about it? And that really came to a head in 2020 that forced a lot of really introspection of, okay, what actually is important? What is the purpose of the company? And what do we focus on that actually is meaningful? And because the purpose from the very beginning was always make awesome products that solve real world problems.
Yeah,
That's what I'm jazzed about. And whether that's a physical product or something else, I tend to gravitate towards the physical nature of products. And it was so easy to get lost in the noise. There's so much noise and interference in the system that it was really easy to lose focus on you're a product company. And several different companies that come to mind that maybe made us think about um, we need to be better at marketing because it was like, man, that we're getting so much attention and demand, and it felt like we weren't doing much.
hmm,
It was like, man, it feels like we're just barely doing a good enough effort to get the word out, to have a brand, awareness. And it felt like, man, if we got smarter at how we attract customers and how we actually craft our videos and our website and our copy and our advertising, that it would be easier to get more customers.
for sure.
When I'm actually starting to believe the opposite is true, is that it's the 80-20 rule. 80% of our success is going to come from the 20% of what we actually do.
Hmm.
And we can generate so much brand awareness and product demand through just having an amazing product that people actually want to talk about and share, rather than now trying to go after that final 20%, which takes 80% of all of your
Yeah,
effort. And so we're actually trying to reverse that and now put more effort behind product creation and development so that our product development cycle speeds up and improves and increases because everyone's like, when's this coming out? Because they assume we're making it. And it's like, I've been working on it for 2.5 years. I would love to know too when it's coming out, but it's such a painful process of arriving to a level of perfection that I think is important to me. I think
hmm,
MagnetMod has always been known as a high quality premium product. And that's something that I just can't sacrifice. I can't just make something just to make it. I want to make a product that actually is substantially better than things that I'm aware of personally. And that's just what's exciting to me is just make the best you can do.
yeah,
And perfection is the antithesis of progress. Sometimes it's the biggest obstacle is you're always trying to make it better.